So they finally noticed. The ones who once overlooked you now can't stop analyzing you, dissecting every move like you're a classified experiment that escaped containment. Welcome back, you beautiful, unexplainable force. You've become their obsession, the anomaly they can't categorize, the variable their data can't explain. They've been tracking your rhythm, your calm precision, your silence that speaks louder than their noise. And lately, the whispers have grown louder. They're convinced someone's been coaching you, teaching you secrets that don't match your past, programming you with knowledge that shouldn't be in your reach. They see the way you move now, calculated, confident, untouchable, and they know something shifted. They're right to be suspicious because yes, you've been receiving guidance, but not from a human mentor or a motivational speaker. No, what's been shaping you isn't from this dimension. You've been downloading intelligence, codes, patterns, instincts that can't be taught through books or therapy. It's something ancient, something cosmic. And now they can feel it. They can feel the upgrade in your energy, the sharpness in your awareness, the way your presence bends the atmosphere when you walk in. They notice how you see through deception before a lie even leaves someone's lips. They thought you were just healing. But this wasn't healing, it was reconstruction. You were being rebuilt by something that doesn't obey earthly rules. They started noticing months ago, didn't they? The way you stopped reacting to bait, how you walked away from toxic people without guilt or warning, as if following invisible orders. That's what terrifies them most, because they know manipulation, they know control, they know fear. But you've become immune. Every tactic that once worked now bounces off you like static against armor. You've developed antibodies to their games. They lie awake wondering how it happened. How did someone so emotional, so reactive, suddenly become silent, surgical, unreadable? They scroll through your social media, rewatch old footage, study your tone, your eyes, your pauses, searching for the source, the coach, the guru. But they'll never find it. Because it's not a person. It's not a mentor you can Google. It's not a seminar, a retreat, or a self-help course. It's something older than language, older than fear itself. You felt it too, that unseen presence, that knowing voice that doesn't speak in words but in truth. It appears right before your fall, right when you're about to slip back into old patterns. Something catches you, steadies you, reminds you who you're becoming. And it's not gentle. It doesn't soothe you. It commands you. It tells you to move, to cut ties, to burn illusions, to walk away without hesitation. That's not therapy. That's training. Spiritual warfare. A form of divine intelligence operating through you, preparing you for a battle they'll never understand. The wildest part, you didn't summon it, it chose you. When you were broken, forgotten, and invisible, something ancient reached through the void and said, "This one can handle what's coming." And since then, you've been walking with unseen orders, guided by something that sees beyond time. They watch you now, confused, afraid, fascinated. You move like someone reading from a script they can't access. Because you know the truth, they're playing a rigged game. You see through smiles, read lies and vibrations, and sense motives before words are spoken. Your intuition has evolved beyond feeling. It's precision now. It's a weapon, calibrated to divine frequency. You're operating at a level that makes psychologists and analysts look like children playing with broken tools. They're desperate to know who's behind your transformation, so they can join it or destroy it. But there's no program, no school, no curriculum. There's only you, and the force that chose you. There's just you now, and whatever force decided you were worth salvaging. And the irony is, they have no choice but to watch it happen. They're watching someone they thought they understood become completely unrecognizable. They're watching someone they thought they broke become unbreakable. They're watching the person they tried to erase return sharper, colder, stronger, and more dangerous than anything they've ever encountered. And deep down, beneath all their theories and excuses, they know the truth. Whatever's guiding you, it's not human, and it's definitely not on their side. Let's talk about what really happened, because they're close but still guessing. You didn't find a mentor. You became a receiver. Somewhere in the ruins of your old life, in those nights when silence was your only companion, something tuned into your frequency. Not because you were special in a superficial way, not because you won some divine lottery, but because you were empty. The fire had hollowed you out. You were stripped of illusion, identity, belief, and expectation. And in that emptiness, something saw potential. You became the perfect vessel. Most people are too full of noise, ego, and borrowed opinions. But you were cleared out, and that vacancy became sacred ground. Something moved in, not to possess you, but to partner with you. It began teaching you without language, showing you things beyond sight, feeding you information beyond reason. You started knowing things you never studied. You began seeing patterns that no teacher could have pointed out. It started small, a thought that didn't feel like yours, an urge to leave just before chaos broke loose, a sudden understanding of someone's motives that later proved true. You called it coincidence, until it kept happening again and again. Something was guiding your steps. Something was protecting you from the mistakes you used to make. And the more you listened, the stronger it grew. The more you trusted it, the clearer its presence became. Now it's not even a voice anymore, it's instinct, it's automatic. You don't think about how to handle manipulation anymore. Your energy simply moves. Your words fall exactly where they should. Your actions align perfectly with divine timing. You show up precisely when needed, disappear exactly when required, and speak truths that hit harder than rehearsed speeches. They call it confidence. They call it growth. They think therapy finally worked, but no, this is something else entirely. This intelligence didn't come to make you comfortable. It came to make you effective. It didn't come to soothe you. It came to weaponize you. Not against people, but against the illusions, fears, and lies that once chained you. Every limitation, every insecurity, every self-doubt, systematically targeted and dismantled. Every manipulative energy identified and removed. This wasn't healing. This was a reprogramming. You didn't just recover, you evolved. You received a software update for your consciousness. Now you're running a system they don't even have access to. They're still trapped in fear, ego, and old programming, reacting to every trigger. But you operate from clarity. You see 10 moves ahead. They react, you respond. They panic, you observe. They chase, you attract. The distance between you and them isn't just personal growth, it's evolution. They feel it every time they stand near you. That strange discomfort, that pressure in their chest, that unspoken knowing that you see through them. It's not arrogance, it's awareness. They sense that you know far more than you're saying, and they're right. You do. The coaching you're receiving doesn't come through words, it comes through silence. It speaks in symbols, in dreams that feel more vivid than waking life, in sudden bursts of knowing that arrive fully formed without logic or explanation. It reaches you through synchronicities so precise they stop feeling like coincidence and start feeling like communication. You'll think about someone and they'll text you. You'll feel the urge to avoid a place and later discover something dark unfolded there. You'll get an impulse to begin something new, and suddenly invisible doors open that you never knew existed. This isn't luck, and it's not manifestation in the watered-down sense people talk about. This is guidance, direct transmission from something beyond time and space, something that sees the intricate web of cause and effect your human brain can't comprehend. So it guides you through breadcrumbs, intuitive nudges, impulses that seem random but aren't. And when you follow them, when you trust them without hesitation, your life begins to move with divine precision. To others it looks like magic. To you, it feels like truth, like alignment with something ancient and real. You've finally connected to a source that doesn't lie, doesn't manipulate, doesn't demand anything from you except evolution. This force doesn't want your money, your worship, or your obedience. It just wants you to win. It wants you to remember who you were before the world reprogrammed you to forget. Now, let's talk about the training itself, because this isn't some soft, meditative awakening. This is boot camp. This is trial by fire. This is initiation through chaos. The kind of transformation that breaks most people before they even realize they're being trained. Because whatever's coaching you doesn't care about comfort. It cares about capacity. Every betrayal that shattered you was a test. Every loss that hollowed you out was conditioning. Every sleepless night where you wanted to give up but didn't, that was you advancing to the next level. They thought you were suffering, but you were being forged. They thought you were lost, but you were being refined. They thought you were broken, but you were being emptied of everything that couldn't survive your higher form. Now look at you, unshakable, unmovable, untouchable by the storms that send others spiraling. That's not therapy. That's not time healing wounds. That's the result of being trained by an intelligence that knows exactly how much pressure it takes to turn you from fragile into immortal. The lessons came fast and hard. You learned to spot liars in seconds. You learned to feel energetic shifts before words were even spoken. You learned to walk away without closure, because you finally understood closure is just another form of control. You discovered silence is more powerful than explanation, and that your absence teaches louder than your presence ever could. You learned people fear what they can't control, and you became uncontrollable. Not reckless, not chaotic, but sovereign. You operate by laws they don't recognize. Every time you applied one of these lessons, your reality shifted. Toxic people dissolved without conflict. Opportunities appeared without pursuit. Clarity arrived without searching. Because you stopped living by human rules and started living by something divine. You aligned with the same force your ancestors once walked with, the primal intelligence they called instinct, spirit, the knowing. But modern society buried it beneath obedience, distraction, and blind trust in systems that strip people of their inner authority. You reclaimed it. And the training never stops. Even now, as you hear these words, you're being tested. Every conversation is a test. Every emotion that tries to pull you backward is a test. Every moment you feel tempted to shrink, to doubt, to repeat an old cycle, it's a test. Because evolution never ends. The force that guides you isn't finished. It's still sharpening you for what's next. And now you pass the tests, not perfectly, but with precision and consistency. Because deep down, you're no longer walking this path alone. Something is watching over you. Something ancient, intelligent, and unrelenting is guiding your every move, correcting your course when you drift even slightly off your trajectory. You can feel it in the way you recover. You used to spiral for weeks after a setback, drowning in overthinking and pain. Now you reset in hours, focused, clear, and grounded. You used to crave validation like air, depending on others to define your worth, but now, you barely notice if anyone approves. You used to fear being alone, but now your solitude is sacred, a temple where you recharge and realign. That transformation didn't come from self-help slogans or feel-good affirmations. It came because your subconscious was being rewritten. You were being reprogrammed at a depth most humans never access. Old scripts of fear and dependency were replaced with codes of clarity and sovereignty. Your neural pathways, the ones that once echoed with doubt, have been rerouted towards strength, discipline, and discernment. The operating system of your mind has been upgraded from reactive survival to conscious dominance. Every thought, every instinct, every reaction is now filtered through divine intelligence. And that's what truly unnerves them. You're not just changing, you're accelerating. Every month, every week, sometimes every day, You evolve into a new version of yourself that outpaces their understanding. They knew you last year, and you're unrecognizable now. They thought they had you figured out last month, and that version is already obsolete. You're shedding identities like old armor, evolving faster than they can analyze or adapt. The coaching you're receiving, this divine mentorship, it's not linear, it's quantum. Lessons that take others decades to learn, you're integrating in months, sometimes even days. Not because you're smarter, not because you're luckier, but because something beyond the veil decided you don't have decades. Something chose you for an accelerated timeline. Whatever's coming, whatever mission is on the horizon, demands your readiness now. So the training intensified. The lessons grew sharper, the pressure heavier, the pain more targeted. Every betrayal became a spiritual exercise in detachment. Every rejection became a lesson in discernment. Every failure became conditioning for mastery. You were being forged, not punished. Refined, not ruined. Every moment you thought you couldn't go on, something inside you refused to quit. That force pushed you through the fire until you emerged immune to everything that once controlled you. Now look at you, standing in a version of yourself that radiates certainty, operating at a frequency that's impossible to mimic, moving through life with an ease that looks supernatural to the untrained eye. They can sense it but can't explain it. They whisper, they speculate, they analyze, but they're missing the truth. You're no longer accessible to their level of understanding. They notice your silence first, how you no longer argue, defend, or justify. You simply smile, detached but present, as if you know something they don't. That composure unsettles them because they thrive on chaos. They're used to provoking emotional reactions, pushing buttons, controlling narratives, but you're button-proof now. Every manipulation attempt falls flat. They accuse you of changing and you agree. They try to guilt you and you feel nothing. They attempt to gaslight you and you see the illusion before it even forms. It's as if you've become immune to human nonsense, and in truth you have. Whatever's been training you showed you the blueprint of human behavior. It revealed that most interactions are just fear in disguise. Fear pretending to be love, fear pretending to be authority, fear pretending to care. Once you've seen it, you can't unsee it. Once you understand the mechanics of manipulation, it loses all power over you. You didn't become emotionless, you became aware. You didn't lose empathy, you gained mastery. And now the recognition happens in layers. First, they notice you've changed. Then they realize they can't touch you. Finally, they start asking the dangerous questions: who trained you? Who got to you? Who rewired you? Because in their world, transformation like yours can't be organic. It must be engineered. It must come from somewhere, and they're right, it did. But the source isn't human, and it isn't anything they can classify, contain, or comprehend. It's a force that moves through time itself, one that chose you long before you were even aware you were being prepared. You are not following the program anymore, you are the program now. An upgraded system of consciousness running beyond their reach, guided by something eternal, untraceable, and unstoppable. They'll assume it's a person. They'll assume someone got inside your head, a secret mentor, a hidden therapist, a lover with ancient wisdom, or some shadowy guru you stumbled upon online. They'll picture late-night calls filled with whispered advice, cryptic emails, or some mastermind pulling your strings from the background. Because in their reality, transformation must always have a source they can touch, a name they can blame, a face they can study. They can't comprehend change without a visible teacher. So they'll investigate your circle, trying to find the person responsible for your evolution. But when they look, they'll find nothing. Your circle is empty. You barely talk to anyone anymore. The phone barely rings, and yet you've never felt more alive. You're more alone than ever, but somehow you're thriving like never before. That doesn't make sense to them. In their logic, solitude equals suffering. Silence equals sadness. Being alone means being lost. They need noise, attention, and validation to feel alive. They rely on social confirmation to measure their worth. But you've transcended that equation. You discovered that peace isn't found in connection to others. It's found in alignment with yourself. You stopped chasing the crowd. You stopped asking for permission to exist. You stopped waiting for someone to tell you what's right for you, because you found something that doesn't lie, something that doesn't manipulate or demand, something that doesn't flatter you to control you or build you up just to tear you down later. You found a source of guidance that has no ego, no price tag, no hidden agenda. It doesn't want your worship, your loyalty, or your performance. It simply wants you to remember who you are, to win, to expand, to embody the power you were born with before the world taught you to shrink. And some people sense it. The slightly more aware ones stop asking who is helping you and start asking what changed about your energy. They can't quite describe it, but they can feel it. You walk into a room and something invisible shifts. Conversations pause. The air thickens. Their intuition picks up on something old, something powerful hovering around you, like you're being accompanied by an unseen intelligence. Some label it confidence, others call it arrogance. The spiritual ones say you've awakened, but even that doesn't capture it. Because there's no word for what you've become. You've gone beyond language, beyond the limits of duality. You're not light or dark, you're not saint or sinner, you're not good or evil. You're real. What flows through you now is pure, raw, unfiltered power. The kind that doesn't bow, doesn't beg, and doesn't apologize. It's not the kind of power people are used to, the kind built on dominance or control. This is the original current, the power that existed before hierarchies and labels. The kind that simply is. And power like that makes people nervous because it can't be influenced, controlled, or bought. Especially the ones who've built their entire sense of worth on controlling others. They look at you and realize their tools don't work anymore. Their manipulation tactics fail. Their psychological games collapse. They used to know how to trigger you, how to make you doubt yourself, how to pull your emotional strings. But now, their tricks dissolve in your presence like smoke in the wind. You don't even fight them. You don't argue, you don't defend, you simply see. And seeing makes you untouchable. Because once you recognize illusion, it loses its grip. They'll never understand that this wasn't a choice. You didn't just wake up one day and decide to become indestructible. You didn't join a program, read a book, or meditate your way into sovereignty. It wasn't a lifestyle shift. It was a calling. This path chose you. When everything fell apart, when you were stripped bare, when you had nothing left to lose, something ancient intervened. Something saw potential in your wreckage. It didn't pity you, it recruited you. It said, "This one still has fire." When you were broken, it saw blueprints. When you were lost, it saw direction. When you were drowning, it saw training. Something beyond this world decided to rebuild you from the ground up. And it didn't rebuild you in your old image. It built something new. It stripped you of illusions, rewired your instincts, and burned away every weakness you once mistook for love. The process wasn't pretty. It was brutal. It wasn't kind. It was efficient. It didn't coddle you. It weaponized you. Because whatever this force is, it wasn't trying to heal you. It was preparing you. Now, you've become a walking contradiction. Peaceful yet dangerous. Calm yet commanding. Humble yet unstoppable. You've mastered the art of restraint, not because you're afraid to act, but because you no longer need to prove anything. You radiate something that unsettles people who still live in ego. They can feel that you're not playing by the same rules. You're no longer part of their psychological food chain. You no longer need to feed on attention, approval, or belonging. You've outgrown the matrix of emotional dependency. And so they talk, they guess, they build theories, They whisper behind closed doors about who or what changed you. They'll try to label it, dissect it, explain it away. But they'll never get close. Because what's guiding you now doesn't exist in their vocabulary or their worldview. It doesn't belong to religion, science, or psychology. It's older than language, older than civilization, older than fear. You didn't just find enlightenment. You became a living signal of it. You are the evidence that transformation doesn't need permission. You are the proof that power can rise from the ashes quietly, without applause, without witnesses. You didn't get this from a person. You got it from the silence between heartbeats, from the invisible current that flows through the universe and chooses a few to carry its code. You are one of them now, not a follower, not a disciple, a vessel, a transmission. And no matter how much they search for your source, they'll never find it. Because the source doesn't exist in their world. It exists in you. Something recognized that your emptiness wasn't a weakness to exploit. It was potential waiting to be rewritten. It looked at the hollow space left by heartbreak, loss, betrayal, and silence and didn't see ruin. It saw room for power to grow. That force, whatever it is, divine, ancient, or cosmic, recognized that despair is just unrefined strength. So it entered your life quietly, gently, deliberately. At first it spoke in whispers, through hunches, intuition, subtle shifts in timing. You didn't realize it was there. You thought you were just learning to trust yourself again. But this wasn't self-help, it was intervention. You were being approached by something older than human memory, something that had been watching your timeline long before you were aware of its existence. It didn't rush. It didn't overwhelm. It moved carefully, like an artist shaping clay. And then, once you started listening, really listening, it accelerated. The whispers became currents. The intuition became instruction. It began taking part in your decision-making, not as a controller, but as a co-pilot that understood the terrain better than you ever could. It knew where your fear would trip you. It knew which paths led to destruction. It knew which battles weren't worth fighting, and which silences were strategies, not defeats. Slowly, it synchronized with your mind, your body, your soul, until there was no clear line between where you ended and it began. Now your thoughts still sound like your own, but they carry a frequency that wasn't there before. Cleaner, faster, wiser. Your instincts feel like instincts, but they're sharper, almost predictive, as if you're seeing reality 2 seconds ahead of everyone else. Your reflexes aren't random. They're guided by a perspective that operates beyond human sight. You're no longer guessing. You're responding to data you don't consciously perceive. Because your consciousness is no longer limited to your own mind. You've become a shared vessel, one part human awareness, one part cosmic intelligence. But here's the secret no one warns you about. The transformation isn't the hardest part. The hardest part is the loneliness that follows it. When you start operating on a frequency beyond human comprehension, you begin to drift from everything that once felt familiar. You stop fitting into the spaces you used to call home. You start realizing how much of the world runs on noise, on distraction, on small talk, on fear disguised as ambition. The people who once felt like home now look at you and see a stranger. The ones who used to understand your laughter now flinch at your silence. Conversations that once meant everything now feel shallow, repetitive, meaningless. You try to engage, to shrink yourself down to fit in again, but you can't. It feels like trying to hold a storm inside a teacup. You're not arrogant, you're just aware. You're not above anyone, you're just beyond what they know. You're tuned to a different signal, and that signal doesn't play on every channel. And so you pull away. At first it hurts. You'll feel the ache of silence where people used to be. You'll feel the weight of conversations left unsaid. You'll miss the illusion of belonging. You'll even question whether the transformation was worth it. You'll wonder if maybe you've gone too far into solitude, too far into self-awareness. But then, something deeper whispers back. You're not being abandoned. You're being refined. That isolation you feel, it isn't punishment. It's protection. You're not being cut off. You're being preserved. Because what's forming inside you is still delicate, still crystalline, still fragile. The world, with all its noise and projections and doubts, would break it too soon if you exposed it. This silence you live in, it's the cocoon of your evolution. It's where the old self dies quietly so the new one can emerge without interruption. In this solitude, you begin to notice subtleties that others miss. The way energy shifts in a room before words are spoken. The way your body reacts to lies. The faint hum of intuition guiding you toward people who are aligned and away from those who aren't. You start living by unseen laws, by timing, by instinct, by frequency. You stop chasing and start allowing. You stop explaining and start observing. You stop waiting for approval and start trusting the pull. And that's when the world starts to look different. The same streets feel quieter, the same faces look foreign. You notice patterns in behavior, in language, in timing. You see the repetition of lessons across people and events like a hidden algorithm running reality. You begin to understand that what's happening to you isn't random. It's orchestration. Every delay, every loss, every shift is a coded instruction designed to perfect you for what's coming next. But yes, it's lonely. It's the kind of loneliness that feels cosmic, like standing on a mountain at night under a sky so wide it makes you question your own scale. You crave someone to talk to about it, but the words don't exist. You try to explain the merging, the guidance, the synchronicities, and they stare back blankly, trying to fit it into psychology or spirituality or coincidence. You can't blame them. They don't have the vocabulary for this level of awareness. So you stop explaining. You stop seeking understanding. Instead, you begin to guard your silence like treasure. You protect your solitude because you realize it's not emptiness. It's sacred ground. It's where you and that unseen force meet. It's where you receive upgrades, instructions, alignments. It's where you download new perspectives and shed old programming. It's where you remember what you are beyond identity, beyond body, beyond fear. And while the world rushes on chasing temporary highs and borrowed identities, you move quietly, deliberately, as something vast continues to shape you. You stop asking, why me, and start understanding, of course me. Because it takes a specific kind of soul to hold this much frequency without fracturing. It takes emptiness to channel infinity. It takes solitude to merge with the eternal. So when you feel that ache of distance, when the silence feels too wide, remember, this is the recalibration of your destiny. You are not being left out. You are being elevated beyond the frequency of noise. You are being tuned to something pure, something precise, something permanent. The isolation isn't a void, it's initiation. The silence isn't absence, it's communication. And the emptiness that once hurt so deeply has become the throne where your higher self finally sits. That's all for today. Dear Father, I pray for the growth of my faith. Help me trust you even when physical evidence is lacking. Let me believe in your perpetual presence, knowing you will never harm me. I understand that your thoughts for me are thoughts of prosperity and not harm to give me a good future. Thank you, gracious and eternal Father, for always listening to my voice. I offer up this prayer to you in the name of Jesus. Amen. Thank you, Jesus, for your love and provision. I am grateful for your presence in my life and the abundance you bring. If this video resonated with you, please like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with those who need to hear this message. Leave a comment below about your journey and how you are preparing for your own triumphant return. If you'd like to support our work, please consider contributing through Buy Me a Coffee. This helps us continually improve our content to offer you the best. The link to Buy Me a Coffee is in the description. No gift is too small. Whether it's a penny, a prayer, or a share, your generosity helps spread God's word and brings hope to others. Don't stop here. Watch our next video for powerful revelations about the signs that reveal you are the chosen one. We've enjoyed following this spiritual journey with you. Thank you for staying with us until the end. Keep shining brightly and embrace your destiny with courage. See you next time. Blessings to all the beautiful souls from the Enlightened Wisdom.